And welcome to Studio 5. We've got quite a bit to get to in this show. We're sitting down with all 6 members of the first Christian music supergroup, if you will, Newsboys United. We're also taking a look at a film that pays tribute to the brave men who won the ultimate victory some 75 years ago. And we've already told you about the Redemption Project. Well, Van Jones is here, the man behind the show, to give us an inside look this week. So let's fire up the countdown clock and begin our look at what's making headlines in uplifting entertainment. Here are the first 2. At number 5. That's the sound of rapper Kanye West's weekly Sunday service. The pop-up worship experiences are drawing other celebrities, like rapper DMX, offering this prayer.
I am God's favored child. No good thing will he withhold from me.
The meetings are also scoring weekly headlines. Kanye's friend Kirk Franklin recently weighing in.
Let that be his medicine. He ain't making no loot doing it.
Nah, he doing it for love.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know,
long live love.
Yeah, long live love, you know, and so you could always tell intent by how people spend their money.
Yeah.
How people spend their money is a reflection of their heart.
That's
and
right.
so the fact that this is something that he's doing on his own, let that be his medicine.
At number 4.
You are a toy. You belong to Bonnie. These are your friends.
With its long-awaited Toy Story 4 in theaters June 21st,
Run away, Simba, and never return.
and The Lion King in theaters July 19th, it's shaping up to be a big summer for Disney films.
Prince Ali, a magic carpet ride for Aladdin at the Memorial Day weekend box office. The Disney remake beat expectations in its debut over the holiday weekend, an estimated $112.7 million. Pre-opening estimates were somewhere in the $80 million range. It's the 5th best Memorial Day weekend opening of all time.
And so begins this week's countdown. We're going to pick up at number 3 in just a little bit. Longtime Newsboys fans are savoring right now the best of all possible worlds. Former frontman Peter Furler and musician and singer Phil Joel have joined current members Michael, Duncan, Jeff, and Jody for new music and a new tour. We traveled to Nashville to sit down with all 6 just before they hit the road. That's the sound of Newsboys United. Now 6 voices, old and new members together. So Newsboys United, how long are we united? Peter?
Everyone's looking at each other.
Well,
18 months of counting, Pete?
yeah, it's been
So
18
far.
months so far, and we're just about to announce a fall tour. So, yeah, who knows? We've obviously just finished making this record.
It's a new record with a chart-topping debut.
And we didn't come into this thinking we're going to make a record. We actually booked a certain amount of shows because if it didn't work, we could all bail.
Why do you think it works?
Well, great songs. We have a history of songs.
Friendships.
And then it's the friendships. I think ultimately it's the connection that we have with each other, because as Mike says often, you can't fake the fun. I met Pete, I was 19. I met the rest of the guys, in my 20s. So we were young men at the time, and I think when you have that legacy of friendship, you realize how special that is. And I think the reason it works is because, I'm looking across to Mike and Jeff and Jody. It's like I've got so much history with them, but then as deep as that, I've got this history and this legacy of friendship with Peter and Phil. So it's just a beautiful thing.
When you came back, did you think you'd be staying?
As Peter mentioned, we thought it was going to be a 3-month thing, see how it went, and we just haven't quit. We just kind of are enjoying ourselves so much, and the whole thing has just been like putting on a comfortable old jacket, and it's pretty special. And I think we realize it's special, so we're in no hurry to run off.
Michael, you come on as lead some years ago because of departures.
Right.
How did you feel sharing the stage and sort of backing up some now?
Well, I was easing to it. It's like you put a frog in cold water and choke. Dad said,
Just some slow boil.
I'll sit there and cook. They told me, said, "Oh, come on, Peter, leave him for a while. Just, fill in a few months." I thought, "Look, I can do that." It's been fantastic. I've known Frankenstein and Duncan and Jody forever, and of course Phil and Pete also. But like, it was a time in my life where I needed Newsboys. I needed some brothers around me. I left DC Talk had taken a break, and I'd been in California for a few years, which did not pan out well for me. And I came back to Nashville, and Wes Campbell, through a few connections, finally gets the call to my house, and Michael, this is Wes Campbell, can you come see? I was like,
that's pretty much exactly what it sounds like.
I thought, okay, I'll try it out. But also, they needed a lead singer, so it worked out perfect. But nothing like a group of men around you that you know, love their wives and kids, that are good men, and making music together. It's like being let loose. I love candy. Being let loose in a candy store.
What's been the toughest part of staying here and staying in it?
You know, that's not really been tough at all. We're all very close. We've grown up together, really, in a lot of ways. I mean, we spent almost all our adult lives together. We were in each other's weddings. We've, held each other's babies, So it's easy.
Let's go one-to-one across here. How would you describe the sound and what people can expect from this Newsboys United project?
It's got a sound of Newsboys past, present, and hopefully the future. And it's encouraging.
Yeah. The interviewer that we did right before you said that the album sounds like a love letter to the fans.
That was my point to you.
So I'm just going to steal that and go with that.
Michael be lost.
That got to be original. Shoot.
That was mine. I think it's familiar, but it's also fresh.
And this shows the fact that we can be united in an ununited America today, I call it living integration, me being the only chocolate drop among vanilla brother in here, which I love that, because if you're going to go to heaven, get used to it, because heaven's going to be very diverse. But the record is full of songs that are vertical and horizontal. It's a cross, and that's our lifestyle.
When you sat back in Australia in 1985, coming up with this group, did you think in 2019 you'd still be doing this?
I didn't think in 1986 I'd be doing it.
1 year later.
No, I wasn't a dreamer that way, and I think it was a good thing, because some of the earlier members of the band were dreamers. Nothing wrong with being a dreamer, except if your dreams don't come true. It can be crushing, and sometimes you think you're going to sell a lot of records and become famous and make money, and well, you can be 5 years in at least, which Newsboys, and we were still kind of living in a van down by the river, So, so it does cause this thing. You got to really be in it, because if you're in it for the fame or the money, they are unquenchable fires. Them things, they are never satisfied. But if you're in it just to be grateful and thankful for what you get to be able to do and share your gifts with the world, it's a good thing.
The Newsboys are on the road right now, and their new music is also available wherever you purchase your music.
Still to come. The goal of the Cold Blue was to create a feeling of what it was like to do it.
A big screen journey inside an unforgettable battle.
It's the first time that 16mm World War II footage of any sort, let alone color, gorgeous Technicolor shot by one of Hollywood's greatest directors, has ever been transferred directly to 4K.
People want to know, is there a plan and how do you find it?
CBN presents The Plan. 8 keys for understanding God's will for your life.
We're going to talk about God's plan for your life.
Is there a plan for everyone's life?
In Pat Robertson's latest teaching, you'll discover the secret to knowing and living out God's unique purpose for you.
The plan of God will be unfolded in your life in ways you couldn't believe possible.
In The Plan, Pat reveals the principles to understanding God's will, so that you will be filled with peace, provision, joy, and satisfaction. Plus, see amazing stories of how others are living out their individual purpose intended by God.
God is faithful, and we did what He told us to do.
Live the life God has designed for you.
I hope that God works out a plan in you that will bring blessing, joy, peace, and happiness.
Get The Plan. Call 1-800-700-7000 or visit cbn.com.
And welcome back to Studio 5. The countdown of what's new in uplifting entertainment continues now. Let's begin with number 3.
At number 3, will Hannah fall in love? In this latest season of ABC's The Bachelorette,
I'm Luke, I'm 24, and I live in Gainesville, Georgia. I like to think I'm a good-looking guy. And when I was in college, a lot of the girls around me thought so too, and I definitely took advantage of that.
Contestant Luke Parker is standing out from the pack of 30 contestants for his Christian faith.
I just was getting a whole lot of emptiness. This emptiness overcame me, and I had an encounter with God. I was in the shower, and God was speaking to me. I realized that I wasn't the man that I wanted to be. And I've been working on being the husband that I want to be for my future wife.
At number 2.
This all started with a promise that we'd leave the big city and build a life in perfect harmony with nature.
From filmmaking to farming, The Biggest Little Farm follows a real-life married couple and their dog on a journey to bring harmony to their lives and 200 acres of land outside Los Angeles.
Here they are, Emma the pig and Mr. Greasy the rooster. Friends for life.
We wanted to believe that everything had a purpose.
The uplifting Big Little Farm is in theaters now and adding more screens.
Breaking news in California, 6 major wildfires.
I can see a lot of smoke.
We're starting to face new problems.
Knock that fever down and then just pray.
We just don't have answers for.
And with that, there's only one more headline in this week's countdown. We'll get to it in just a moment. They flew, they fought, they died, they won. That is the tagline of the film, The Cold Blue. Now, in case you missed the one-night theater showing, here's a behind-the-scenes look at Eric Nelson's documentary that chronicles the heroic struggles of the U.S. 8th Air Force during World War II.
The Cold Blue is a brand new film that takes William Wyler's raw footage and creates an entirely new creative project from original footage. It's the first time that 16mm World War II footage of any sort, let alone color, gorgeous Technicolor shot by one of Hollywood's greatest directors, has ever been transferred directly to 4K. And by transferring it to 4K, it allows us to blow the film up, expand to a widescreen without losing any, and I repeat, any of its resolution and quality. Because of the risk inherent in filming this material and the technology of 1943, the footage was filmed without sound, so it's silent footage. So what we had to do was recreate the sounds of 1943.
There's a lot of music in this film, I think, because you've got basically airplane noise and voiceover, which to my mind all needs underpinning. I basically scored it for the whole 70 minutes, so I did a lot of writing for this.
The goal of The Cold Blue was to create a feeling of what it was like to do it.
The Cold Blue was in theaters May 23rd. We'll keep an eye out for you for where you can find it next. Before we go to break, it is time to say it in pictures, moving from motion pictures to still photography. Here's this week's Studio 5 Snapshot.
That's the voice of music icon Gladys Knight, who began singing in church at just 4 years old. She turned 75 this week. And with these images from her long career, we wish the Empress of Soul a happy birthday. She's this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. And still ahead.
Yeah, I think that Terry definitely has some anger towards me. I mean, her son's gone, and I'm here. She's probably thinking, why couldn't it have been you and not my son?
Rough roads to redemption play out with cameras rolling.
Do you think that he is accountable now?
I don't know if he's accountable yet.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
And welcome back to Studio 5. We have made it to the final headline in this week's countdown of our best in uplifting entertainment.
At number 1. Grammy-winning rapper Lecrae makes a unique stop with his Unashamed tour.
It's almost like I'm connecting with people that society has forgotten about.
Paying a visit to a Texas prison to perform and to meet with the inmates.
And when you want to get out, bro, when you get out, you gotta for real find a good, solid church, community, all that stuff.
Along with his Reach Records label mates, Lecrae partnered with the Ministry Prison Fellowship.
Discipleship, disciple making, the investment of, what's been deposited into you and to others is a crucial aspect of the faith. It's something that, for us to neglect, I think is criminal.
We ain't playing volleyball, I thought we were playing volleyball.
They even played a friendly game of basketball.
Any opportunity to get involved with something where we're continuing that journey of pouring ourselves into others and also encouraging them to pour themselves into others is something that is extremely important, and I need to be involved in.
That wraps this week's countdown. A few weeks ago, we shared some groundbreaking television with you from CNN's Van Jones. It's an incredible lesson in restorative justice when he unites perpetrators of crime with the ones they injured or their loved ones. Van Jones is here, but first, let's take a quick look at the Redemption Project before we sit down and talk with Van Jones.
For the last 15 years, I've been looking at myself in the mirror, knowing that I haven't yet said I'm sorry to my victim's family. I ruined their lives, but I need them to hear that, there is pain in my heart.
With that, I wanted to ask Josh about his Victim Offender Dialogue project and what his thoughts are on it and his feelings going into it.
I think about it and then I still can't fathom it. I can't come to the realization that this is really happening. But I'm here and I'm doing this.
And Van Jones joins us now with more on his series, The Redemption Project. So Van, let's begin. What inspired this show?
Well, I've been working on criminal justice issues for about 25 years now. And what I learned is that there are some real diamonds behind those walls. There are people who have maybe went into prison with one attitude, but over the years they've really transformed themselves. Those diamonds never get a chance to shine. And so I also know that years after a crime has been committed, for the person who's a victim of that crime, they haven't necessarily had a lot of healing, a lot of understanding, a lot of peace with what happened. And so we found people who had some bad things that happened to them. We found people who behind those walls who had transformed themselves. And we just got them together to let them have a conversation face to face, and we filmed it. And I tell you, we get 99% positive responses on Twitter. Now, I usually call Twitter hater because it's a very tough environment. But something about this show is really touching people in a deep way.
Now, for people who may not have seen it, here is a quick headline from the show. His daughter was murdered. This is why he sat down feet from her killer and forgave him. What exactly is allowing you to pull these two people into the same room?
Well, you know, we don't even have the language or the literacy for some of the grace that fills these rooms when people sit down and talk. And listen, we're not, you know, advocating, you know, just people do whatever they want to and there's no accountability, there's no consequences. That's not what, that's not this kind of show. These are people who've gone to prison. These are people who have tried to, you know, been forced to pay a cost for their bad decisions and who want to atone, who want to apologize, who want to make amends, who want to show that they have learned their lesson and who want to offer some peace to the person who they hurt. And I think there's something in the human condition. All of us have done something we regret and don't know what to do about. And all of us have had something bad happen to us that's hard to get past. And so the stakes of our show are high because of the underlying incident, but the basis of our show is universal, that desire to apologize and that desire to heal.
Watching this, I have to wonder, what role is faith playing in these meetings and in these people's lives?
Listen, I would say 8 out of 10 of these episodes, faith plays a very large role. I mean, a lot of the people, frankly, on both sides of a crime, if there's been any progress at all, people have been relying on their faith. They've been relying on scripture. They've been relying on their faith communities. People have been, I love this show because it's probably, I don't know if it's true, but I bet that the word God and the word prayer is used more in my 1 hour than is probably used in a whole week in normal cable news because, you know, it's so secular these days. But, you know, it's a powerful, powerful show, and that faith element is almost always there.
Now, watching, we can see that these stories are certainly touching you personally. What's it doing to you?
You know, I realize I'm petty. I'm petty, man. I'm still mad about stuff that happened in 3rd grade on the playground. I still, you know, I hold on to stuff too long. And to see these people, you know, reach out to each other across these divides, it doesn't always end warm and fuzzy, by the way. You know, it's not always a kumbaya moment, but just a level of moral courage, Olympic levels of moral courage being shown across the toughest situations you can imagine. And it's just making me want to be a better person. And I think a lot of people watch the show and think, well, geez, I don't know if I could forgive that, but maybe I should unblock my friend on Facebook because of, you know, how they voted in the 2016 election, or maybe I should, you know, reach out to my cousin I haven't spoken to since that Thanksgiving went south 10 years ago. Maybe, you know, maybe I could try something not that hard, but a little something in my own life to bring out some more grace.
Van Jones, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. And here's the deal. This is a Heartbreak to Hope show. So stick with it. You know, there's heartbreak in the beginning. Some people go, oh, it's so dark. I promise you, we heartbreak to healing, heartbreak to hope, and get your Kleenex out. Everybody who's seen this show says it's blown them away. Stick with the show through those first couple of minutes, and I guarantee you the payoff is unbelievable.
Up next on Studio 5. One more question for the men of Newsboys United.
If you could go back and give young Duncan some advice, what would you tell him?
Life lessons from all 6 of them when we come back.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
Millsburg Falls man coming.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon! It's the new Superbook Bible app. free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
And welcome back to Studio 5. Time is certainly flying. We have a couple of things, though, we want to share with you before we say goodbye. The first is music from recording artist Jonathan Nelson. His Jesus, I Love You is what's playing in my ear. Jesus, I love you. You certainly cannot say it enough. By the way, there is a social media challenge with this Jonathan Nelson project. You're encouraged to post a video of yourself singing the song using the hashtag Declarations. With that, we are almost out of time for this episode of Studio 5, so it's time now to look ahead and see what we're working to bring you come next week.
A round of applause for Titus Showers striking out on a solo career and scoring the #1 spot on the Billboard charts.
Whatever I need, He will supply, as long as I ask.
He brings his latest song and story to Studio 5.
It was a test of our faith because that was my mom's dream home, and she always said that the Lord was going to bless her.
It's a real-life Beauty for Ashes story, sure to uplift us all.
And we certainly hope you'll join us for that story and so much more come next week. As for the final word for this episode of Studio 5, we'd like to end the way we began and return to Newsboys United. Each member of this band of 6 have a word of advice he'd give to his younger self. If you could go back and give young Duncan some advice, what would you tell him?
Chill out.
So good. Good job. So good.
Okay.
Quick answer, Jody. Quick, please. Yeah, tomorrow.
Oh gosh.
Lightning round.
There's just too many things. I can't even begin.
First thing is come back to you.
Yeah, come back. Yeah, you can come back to me.
I got one.
Choices have consequences.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's my life story.
Yeah.
Eat more vegetables.
Yep.
Phil, he's a vegetarian.
I'm trying to come up with something quick, you know?
He's
Wait, go to Frank.
don't worry so much what people think of you.
Okay.
Like, find your true identity. Just be more confident.
Practice that guitar.
All right. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Back to you, Jody.
Golly, man. Everybody just has great ones. I'm over here like, I don't know.
You're happy with yourself.
Be quicker on your feet. That's what I
Be quicker on your feet.
Thank you, Jody. I guess we could all be a little bit quicker on our feet. Those guys, by the way, are a joy to spend time with. That is the final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone else. And then come on back and see where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.